Welcome to Write to Publish, your go-to podcast for all things writing and publishing. I'm Karen Stanley, a 14 times published author and the founder of Mabel and Stanley Publishing. Join me as I share a multitude of tips and insights drawn from my own writing and publishing journey. We'll be hearing from some inspirational authors too, who will share their writing experiences and top tips for success. Each week, we'll learn about an aspect of writing, from composition to genre and from publishing to marketing. Listen in as we learn and chat about all things writing and publishing, and let's get you on the right path.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Write to Publish with me, Karen Stanley. Now, I'm very excited about this month because we've got several really great author interviews coming up. And I know lots of the listeners out there like to hear from our authors and hear about their experiences. So today we've got the lovely Maria Culley with us, known as Ria usually, aren't you? But she's her proper name is Maria Culley, and she's going to talk to us today about her book, about how she wrote it, what her inspirations were, what she loved about the process, maybe what was a little bit more challenging, and we look forward to hearing from her. So lovely to see you here today, Ria. Some of you, the listeners, will be seeing you on the YouTube channel, and some will obviously just be hearing your dulcet tones. So tell us first of all, what's the title of your book?
Sure. So the title of my book is There's a Nanny in My House.
There is. Okay. So it's for the people who can see. Do you want to give us a little flash of the book? I mean, if you're listening on the podcast, I'm afraid you won't get the full force of the title, with some gorgeous illustrations. And so Ria, obviously it's a children's book, isn't it? And do you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
Sure. So I've been working in early years for many years, and there was never any books for children that transitioned to have a nanny. So instead of whinging about it and moaning about it like I had done for a while, I decided to do something about it. And the lovely Karen, took the chance on me to actually publish the first children's transition book for children in the nanny industry, written by a nanny for nanny children.
So a bit of background. That's your primary job is as a nanny for children. And what do you think the challenges are for children with a nanny then? What can they come up against?
I think, when you look at the other transitions books, there's books that prepare for children to go to school, to nursery, for so many different things. But for a child having a nanny, it's someone coming into their house. Children are used to being dropped off and left somewhere, but having a stranger to begin with come into their house and be part of their home environment and hanging around with mummy and daddy, and hang on, whose team are you on here? There's that challenge of, why have I got a stranger in my house? Why are they here? This is my safe space. And it's just trying to make that transition and ease that bond for the parents as well, because it's not easy for them either to have someone in your home. It's a very different form of childcare, and to make it work, you've got to be consistent. But the most important thing is you need your child to be happy.
Yeah, that's cool. So, really important message there. And so obviously, if we talk about your inspiration, so your inspiration for the book would have been what you did in your job and the issues that you've maybe come up against.
100%, yeah. When I first started it, I was actually going to write it backwards. I was going to do one about the nanny leaving, because at the time I was actually leaving a job, and I've realised there was no books for a child leaving it. It so happened that COVID was kind of around at this time, so there was a need for more nannies and children needing the care of nannies. So it seemed more sense to flip it and do it about a nanny coming into the house, because at the time, the industry, that's what it needed. So the second one we're still working on, as you know.
I know that was going to be one of my later questions, but we've jumped forward a little bit. So, your vision is to kind of repeat the process, isn't it?
It sure is. It's now then to flick it the other way round. So whereas this is about Millie and Freddie going, there's a stranger in my house, to their journey of how they've grown and worked together and evolved, and actually now that they don't need the nanny anymore, and now they're going, well, where is my nanny? She's not here. But it's about focusing on their independence and how, as a nanny used to be there to blend the food, to now actually they're helping you make their school lunches and dinner.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so it's quite interesting. So you have got a sequel planned, because that's always my question,
We have.
do it again.
I think most people would think I'm mad to do it again, but it's my passion and our industry needs it and children need it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think we all know none of us are going to retire publishing books. We do it because it's
No.
something we love to do and we enjoy doing. And if it can
Yeah.
bring joy to one other child or family, then for me, that's what it's worth.
Yeah, because it's rarely, I mean, obviously there's that, lovely to have a book that goes viral and you end up becoming a multi-million pound best-selling author, but it's rarely, the motivations I think are rarely financial, are they? Certainly in the
Not at
beginning.
all. Yeah,
No.
definitely. And I think
Yeah.
if you want to do it and you're passionate about it, yeah, that's the reason why you're doing it.
Yeah, you got to, I mean, all of the authors that I work with, one of the things we do to start with is like, what are your visions and goals? What do you want to achieve from this? What would you like to see happen? And it is rarely financial. It's more about a legacy or a message, like you say, or a passion. That's kind of where it comes from. And the creative process, I think, needs that, doesn't it? So let's talk about the positives then. What did you find before we go on to the what were the challenges? But what did you find? Did you love the process? What did you love about it?
Um, Being the first time I've ever done it, I wasn't really sure what to expect.
Yeah.
But Karen, you made it so easy and so lovely.
Oh,
And even with all the to and fro and emails that the God knows what hours I sent them to you with my work, it was actually it was a journey, it was a process, and now I've done it. At the time I thought I'm never doing this again, but actually it's worth doing it again and I want to do it again, so you're going to have to put up with me for the next book. Sorry.
I'm sure I can manage that. I'm sure. And yeah, I do think people underestimate actually how much to-ing and fro-ing there is, and how much, I think I get sent quite a lot of manuscripts, and sometimes I'm like, this isn't ready, it needs a bit of work. And you were great. That lots of the clients I work with are like, yeah, I take that on board. I want to improve. Some people get a little bit sniffy and, find it difficult to receive that feedback, because it is quite an emotional process, isn't it? To be told, well, you've got to improve this and you've got to do that, and this isn't quite right, and you've got to change that, and everyone's like, oh my God. But yeah, the working with you was amazing, and I've got lots of lovely clients who kind of accept that is part of the process. Your first
Yeah.
draft is never your finished draft, is it?
Most definitely not.
If
I think
only.
yeah, I was going to say, I think add a zero onto that and a few more numbers and we're about right.
Yeah. So thinking about that then, and obviously for you as well, it's slightly different with the children's book. We had to, have the services of an illustrator. So that's a whole nother kind of project to manage alongside it, isn't it? How did you find that process?
It was, because I think in my mind I already had a vision, and at the beginning, as you know, I was quite set on that's how I want it, and it was kind of like I had to listen to your guidance, go, well, actually, this
Yeah,
is what's going to work best for the
yeah,
way your book's laid out. And it was like it's having to let go of that baby a little bit, but trust that
yeah,
you know what you're doing and you're doing
yeah.
it for the right reasons. And there, we had a few edits and different vision boards with our illustrator, and obviously I'm going to use her for the second one as it carries on the story. But I think it's definitely taken that time, realizing how much time it takes,
Yeah,
and you need to have that time to make your book worth it.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah,
what
I
you put
mean,
in, you'll get out at the other end eventually.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And illustrations take ages. I mean, it's not something I can do, but it's a skilled process. And you're right, there's a real compromise. It's very difficult to kind of translate what's in your head to somebody else. And then, there's lots of things like, you can't have too much action in the middle of the book,
Yeah.
down the center crease, because then you can't see it or you can't read. There's lots of kind of technicalities, logistics that you have to. So there is a lot of compromise, isn't there?
There is,
Yeah,
but it's worth it in the end. And
yeah,
with your support, we've got the first book out and
yeah.
the second one bubbling away.
Excellent, and it looks gorgeous. I mean, and Maddie, she did a lovely job of the
She did,
illustrations, I
yeah,
do
she's
have to
brilliant.
say. Yeah, she was one of our. I have quite a few freelancers work for me now. She's one of our sort of illustrative arts degree students. She's done an illustrative art degree, and I'm finding quite a lot of these people who've left uni and have done an illustrative arts degree. It's great for them because they want to build their portfolio and they're fresh and they've got great ideas. So
Yeah.
it's a really good way to find an illustrator to work with you. So talking about that then, what would you say were the most challenging parts of the process, or were there any bits that you thought, oh goodness me?
I think probably the time frame of the edits, because like I
Yeah.
said, I think I certainly went into it a kind of bit blinded. I thought, oh, I've done it. There you go. It's done. And it's like you said, oh, actually, can you add a bit more? Well, do I have to add more? That's how I wanted it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll add a bit more because that page isn't as long as that one. So like you can see from like a author point of view where it should be, and it's
Yeah.
having that time to do it and trusting you or someone else to take that baby with you and go, okay, I trust you, and we'll work on it together. And then you bring it back and you're like, okay, all right
Yeah.
then,
Makes sense now.
fine.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It is tough. And like you say, every single author I work with, they pretty much have a wobble before the launch without fail. Just as it's about to go, they start going, oh, I don't know if it's good enough. Or, oh, and I'm like, just chill, just relax. Because it is an emotional process, isn't it?
100%. And I think for me, because it was the first one in the industry, I also wasn't sure how the industry would take it. Like, it's
Yeah.
my passion and it's my professional career. But then, it was like, well, what's she doing that for? But thankfully, I had some lovely sponsors and industry leaders that actually sponsored part of my book launch, that got behind it, publicised it, came along to our event, and we're there. It's out there.
Yeah, that's great. That's great that you had that support. But again, what was brilliant about that, you had a real vision. You knew what you wanted it to achieve. You knew, and one of the big things is knowing who your reader is and writing to that audience so that they get what you want them to get and what they need. So that's part of the challenge, isn't it? And with anything in life, if you kind of stick your head above the parapet a little bit, you are waiting for someone
So
to
bash you back
shoot,
down.
aren't you? Yeah, yeah. So that, I think you are bearing your soul a little bit. We do call it a book baby for good
Yeah.
for good reason. For good reason. So you've sort of covered this a little bit. So what's your vision? So your vision is another book then?
It'll be the follow on from There's a Nanny in My House to Where's My Nanny, and I think
Uh-huh.
that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, two is enough.
Yeah.
So if you could share any tips for fellow authors or people starting out or people considering the process, what would your sort of top tips be from based on your experiences?
I would say write it down, and it might only make sense to you at the time,
Hmm.
and then piece it together. And your idea is good enough, and I think we've got to believe that we all have an idea and a vision for a reason. And yes, it might need work on it, but it's there for a reason. So run with it and
Yeah.
take that chance and see what happens.
Yeah, that's good advice. I say to people, I can't remember how many times I've said this, but you cannot edit a blank page.
No.
So you just have to, get it down, accept that your first draft is going to be messy. It's not going to look how it's supposed to look in the end. It's
Yeah.
never the finished article. You have to accept that and embrace that at the same time and get the ideas. I mean, I don't know about you, my memory is shocking. So if I get a brilliant idea, quite
Write
often
it down.
3 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaning over the side of the bed with a notebook in the dark. But if you don't write it down, then in my experience, those ideas rarely come back. So I
Yeah.
would say record them on a phone or a
Yeah.
voice note or pen and paper. I would
Anything.
say, yeah. And I suppose for you, your characters in your book, it's Millie and Freddie, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
In the book, yeah. Were they based on real children or were
They
they kind of?
were.
Yeah, were they?
They were. Obviously, I had to change the name slightly,
Yeah.
but it's quite sweet because everyone's like, "Oh, I know." All right then. I mean, I was with
Yeah.
them for many, many years, and that's kind of almost why I wanted to flip the book round. But at
Yeah.
that time, from an industry point of view and launching, it made sense to do it this way round.
Yeah. Okay. And so did they know that the characters were
They
based on them?
did.
Oh, and how did they feel about that?
They were like, "It kind of looks like me too."
Oh, that's so cute. How lovely.
So
And
yeah.
were mum and dad pleased?
Yes, yeah. They
Yeah.
always kind of knew that I had this idea, but it was finding the time to do it for me, which
Yeah.
is a big thing because working as a nanny, I'd be doing little bits at nap time here, a little bit after work, or at some
Yeah.
ungodly hour when I had this idea and would email you about 3 o'clock in the morning because that's the time I had,
Yeah.
and I never expected a reply at that time. Don't worry.
No, I'm quite. Do you know? I just spoke to a recent client today. I said I'm quite cool with that because I'm a bit. I get an idea. I think I've got to send that. So I'm quite used to my phone. If I'm asleep, I do put it on silent because I do
Good.
get random
Yeah.
times through.
And yeah.
Creative brains, that's how they work. They don't work to a specific
At the
time
most
scale.
spontaneous times.
Yeah. Oh, so that's good then. So it's nice that you based it on them, but you know, obviously you made it work and made changes to the story as appropriate, didn't it? And
Yeah.
just sort of a couple more questions. When you wrote the initial story, because obviously it's a shorter book because it's a children's picture book, so there's not as many words. So this is very different for someone writing a novel. It could take months, years, you know, depending on the level of research. And I guess because you're in that field, you sort of had your research internally,
Yeah.
really, didn't you, for your characters? So how long would you say the first draft of getting the story down, was that fairly quick?
It was pretty quick. I mean, it's something I'd had in my mind for 2 years previous, and I'd
Right.
write little bits here, write little bits there. And it was all, my first draft was on pieces of paper. I wasn't even using a laptop at the time. And then I think from when I came to you with the majority of what I thought was a finished manuscript, oh no, it wasn't. I think we did it about 4 or 5 months, wasn't it? Till I think we got the launch.
over that process. Yeah, so it's relatively quick in publishing terms, but it's still a process. And obviously for people writing an adult novel, that's even long can be
Yeah.
even longer depending on the editing back and forth. Oh, so that's interesting that the actual so I was going to ask about your writing process. So at that point, it was just writing it down on scraps of paper.
It was on scraps of paper, and I'd kind of like have the beginning idea of this story, and then I'd move them all around a bit, go, no, that doesn't sound right. And then it's when we would say, cool, could you send it to me? I looked at these pieces of paper going, oh, I'm going to have to get a laptop and type that up now, because as a nanny, I don't tend to use a laptop. I have my phone. My job, I don't need a laptop. So I was like, oh, I need a laptop.
Brilliant.
And the last time I used my laptop was for this story.
Oh, was it? And that's interesting. Did you have a preferred? Well, I guess you've sort of said that. You know, your writing time, your writing schedule was very much snatched moments. Do you have a time where you prefer to write certain times of the day, or not really?
It's usually whenever I get a chance to be honest,
Yeah,
and which is mostly late at night or during children's nap times.
Yeah. So you're kind of dictated. Your writing schedule has to be quite fluid, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you're definitely up for the process again, but you think you're going to stop at 2, do you?
I do. Oh, I'm not sure where else I could go. I mean, apart from if I was then going to move on to, Adventures with My Nanny, I'm not sure. There could be a need, but I think I'm more focusing on the transitions and the support for the family and the children. I think starting the journey and ending the journey, for me, I think is my area that I want to focus on.
Yeah. And for you, it's slightly different, I guess, because you wrote for a purpose,
Yes.
didn't you? Like, although you were writing fiction, you had a clear purpose in mind. And I've quite a lot of business people who maybe run kind of children's activity provision of some kind. So they're almost writing for business, but obviously the business of whatever they provide for
What you're
children.
doing.
So it's a slightly different. So you definitely are writing to market, aren't you? Really, that's
Oh,
exactly
100%.
what you're doing. Yeah, exactly what you're doing. Which sometimes, I always say, write for an audience of one. So and for you, you clearly knew who your reader was. You clearly knew who your audience was, which does then help, doesn't it? It does make it
100%. Especially when, I certainly don't have a marketing budget of hundreds of thousands. So I knew, like, when I do certain events, so I've been to like NannyCon and when I've exhibited there, and I've been to other children's book fairs or children's book fairs. I thought it was an alarm here. So when I've been to different like nanny orientated or parent orientated events, I know that's my audience because that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, and it does, and that's the thing about. I mean, I've spoken to so many people who've said, "Oh, I've written a book and it's not selling," and you and I both know it's all about the launching, isn't it? I mean, if you don't launch it, if you don't promote it, if you don't tell people it's there, you might as well not have bothered because no one's.
But there's no point. I mean, I think the biggest thing, I think my takeaway is I had this vision for my launch, as you know, at the hotel in Kensington, and this is how we're doing it. And I had a playhouse that the children could decorate because it was about nanny being in the house. So for me, the launch was probably as big as actually finishing the book because they went together.
Yeah, and it was a fabulous celebration. And that's the point. You know, you knew who your audience was and you can physically go out to your audience, which is really crucial, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly if you want to, you know, launch with a bang and build the buzz towards your book moving forward, most definitely. Yeah, and it was a great day. We had a really, really lovely time. You did a great job. I remember you had a Mary Poppins there,
I
didn't you?
did.
All the lovely things that go with kind of childcare and looking after children. Well, it's been so lovely to talk to you today, Maria, and I really wish you well. And I look forward to working with you on book
That
2.
next
And you'll be older and wiser this time. You'll know exactly what
and
to
greyer.
expect. When you get that phone call from me, you won't be dreading it quite as much.
No.
You're like, oh, no, I know. I understand this. I get where this is coming from. I've been here before.
Here comes the next reel of edits.
Yeah, here we go. Wonderful. Well, it's been lovely to talk to you today. Hold your book up for our viewers just today. So this is There's a Nanny in My House by Maria Culley, and you can buy this on Amazon. It's a lovely, charming little book about Millie and Freddie and their journey to having a nanny in their house with their family and the struggles that provided. So if you've been listening in today, thank you so much. This was me, Karen Stanley, on the Right to Publish podcast. We've got more great authors coming up, and if you have any questions, you can get in touch at karen@mabelandstanleypublishing.com, and look out for Maria's book on the Mabel and Stanley social media. We do little features of all of our authors from time to time, so it's a great book and I know you'll enjoy it. For sort of children like 4 to 8, I'd say, Maria, wouldn't you? Yeah, lovely. Okay, thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care, and let's get you on the right path.